Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of This Week in Niche Pursuits News. And I am your host, Spencer Hawes. I'm back after a few weeks. Jared's been holding down the fort here and doing a great job, along with some co hosts, but the news does go on. And today is a big one because the Justice Department came out with a ruling that could potentially lead to the breakup of Google's businesses, their Chrome business, their Android business, and sharing a lot of search data with other businesses. So, we're going to dig into that story, what that means, kind of what the timeline looks like, that sort of thing. But also in other news, WordPress has got a little bit of a drama going on here. The founder of WordPress.org, and then we've got for-profit businesses that build a lot of things on top of WordPress. And I'll just say that there's some drama, and so we're going to dig into what that drama is and how it might impact all of us here. And then we each have a side hustle that we're going to share here. I've got an update on something that I've been working on for a long time, seeing really good success. Actually, my biggest month ever for this particular side hustle. And then Jared, I know you got some updates as well. And then finally, we have two weird niche sites. We're going to each share a site that we found out in the wild, and yeah, just talk about, are they making money? Are they good ideas? And just have some fun with it. So
And for the first time in Niche Pursuits news history, we're going to be referencing back to a previous weird niche and giving an update on that.
that's exactly right. And I'll just say it was one of the most fascinating weird niche sites that I've heard in a while, sort of captured my imagination and attention. And so I'm actually really excited to hear the update and the more details on that. So we will
So
jump into that.
you're saying you listen to these when you're not around, when you're out gallivanting across the country, pop in some headphones,
I did
keep an eye on
indeed.
things.
I was actually traveling last week. I was at a business conference, and I did pop in some headphones at the airport, waiting for the airplane,
There
and
you go.
thought, why not? Let's see what Jared has to say. And he had a good weird niche site to share
Well, it's good to have
last
you
week.
back. Lots to talk about this week. Lots of good news. So yeah, good to have you back.
Yep, it is great to be back. Good to be back in the seat. So, here's just an article on NPR.org. This news is all over the place, though. Justice Department calls for sanctions against Google in landmark antitrust case. Now, we've been covering this, right? Google was um, essentially ruled a monopoly, right, for their search dominance and for all the other pieces that they have going on. A lot of this comes down to some of these exclusive agreements that Google had with companies like Apple and Samsung to essentially distribute their search technology, to kind of make these to make Google search the default search engine, and a lot of other Google tools to kind of make the default. And of course, Google has Google Chrome, where we know that they are using a lot of click data and other user data to actually rank search results. That sort of clickstream data. And now they also have Android. And so all of these things working together, Google was kind of ruled a monopoly here. And I don't know how much we want to dive into this, but there was a 32-page filing by the judge. Um, and just, boy, was it just yesterday or Tuesday evening, just a couple nights ago? It basically came up with an update of, hey, we are looking at some potential action. And some of those potential actions included actually breaking off Google Chrome, breaking off the Android business, and making sort of their search algorithm and a lot of their search data available to other companies. So that would be actually, in essence, revealing the secret sauce that Google has behind their search engine and making it available to competitors. So there's kind of a lot to this, and whether or not this will ever happen, right? It is an illegal proceeding. It's going to take probably multiple years to go through the court process. But Jared, I'll let you jump in at this point and share any thoughts that you have.
Yeah, I mean, from a high level, this is tracking back to the antitrust lawsuit that we've been talking about that really took place at the tail end of last year. And then in August, we had the ruling come down. The federal judge sided with the Justice Department, but we didn't know, hey, when's this going to actually take the next steps? Well, these are the next steps. They're kind of filing what they want to happen. I read a little deeper into the article, and it looks like the next steps, the Justice Department will provide more detailed proposals in November. Google will respond with their own suggestions in December, and then a new trial is set for next April. We might know by this time next year what the actual ruling is. So it's a ways away, but it's also seems to be fairly planned out. Whereas before we were talking like, who knows? At least now I feel like we have a good idea of the fact that something's going to happen probably by within the next 12 months. And I think that that something is getting more and more severe as time, kind of progresses.
Right, exactly. And I will just share this image here. This is somebody just shared this on Twitter. This is just a page from the filing that just came out a couple of days ago, and a couple of things were highlighted that Google might be required to do. Among other things, Google to make available in whole or through an API the indexes, data, feeds, and models used for Google search, including those used in AI-assisted search features and Google search results, features, ads, including the underlying ranking signals, especially on mobile. And then another sentence here: plaintiffs are considering remedies that would prohibit Google from using or retaining data that cannot be effectively shared with others on the basis of privacy concerns. So, I mean, this is probably the most severe type outcome, and it'll probably be somewhere in the middle. I can't imagine that Google is just going to hand over all of these things. Like I said, sort of their secret sauce, the ranking signals, all their data, like they're just not going to probably hand that over. But this could be the most severe thing that the Justice Department is seeking as one of these remedies in the case.
I mean, the simplest one obviously would, well, not obviously, but the simplest one it seems would be to just not allow Google to be the default, Chrome to be the default search engine on different browsers and mobile devices. Some of these obviously are more complicated. I think obviously the more as we get into it, and the more as probably listeners of the podcast are involved, we're more interested in some of these more heavy-handed potential solutions because these have the capability of affecting search going forward. And the fact that Google has over 90% market share, which we kind of keep having a study or a survey or something come out every 6 months that tries to question that. And we keep coming back to the fact that Google's market share isn't really changing that much. And this might be the first thing to come in that might actually affect their long term market share in terms of search.
Do you ever get stuck in your business and wish you had someone you could turn to for solutions? Well, I think you should consider joining the Niche Pursuits community. You'll get weekly calls with experts on growing a successful online business, and you'll also get assigned a small mastermind group where you can solve your business problems as well as share your wins. For a limited time, I'll let you try out the Niche Pursuits community for just $1. Go ahead and use coupon code PODCAST at checkout in order to get your first month for just $1. Again, that's coupon code PODCAST. Go to community.nichepursuits.com today and see what it's all about. And maybe I'll see you on our call next week. Thanks a lot.
And of course, Google has responded to this. They've issued a statement to this ruling here. So let me share this article here by Lee Ann Mulholland. She's the Vice President of Regulatory Affairs. Um, this official blog on Google: DOJ's radical and sweeping proposals risk hurting consumers, businesses, and developers. So, of course, they take the opposite view, where this is unfair. This is going to hurt people. It's going not only our business but consumers and other developers and other people. Right? Google's just being the good guy here. They're not doing anything wrong. And so I would encourage people to read this, but they really did hone on. At least she did. Lee Ann Mulholland did sort of zero on sort of the risk of breaking off, the Android business and the Chrome business, and sort of the search technology. She really focused on that, and she had just a few points here of essentially why this is such a bad thing, and she put these in bold here, where she says forcing Google to share your search queries, clicks, and results with competitors risks your privacy and security. Okay, so again, Google's positioning themselves as the good guy. We don't want to, risk your privacy. You don't want to be put in that position, right? And then the next point here: hampering Google's AI tools risks holding back American innovation at a critical moment. And then splitting off Chrome or Android would break them and many other things. And she goes into how they've invested so much into Chrome and Android. And, it's fast, secure, it's free, all these great things. And, how and why should we continue to develop them if our technology is just kind of given to everybody? Um, Boy, and then just a couple other points. Changes to the online advertising market would make online ads less valuable. Unreasonable restrictions on how Google promotes our search engine would create friction for consumers and harm businesses. So, is this a big deal? Absolutely. This is a huge deal to get the VP of Regulatory Affairs to issue a blog post immediately after sort of this opinion. Um, what will come of it? It's going to be a long process. We'll see what happens.
It's better than the last PR statement they had to release. I don't remember exactly what that was about, but we talked about it on the podcast, and it was pretty amusing at best to watch
Yeah,
them try to talk about that. At least this one has some interesting points. I mean, I thought their point here. I'll just read one out loud. I mean, we're no Google apologists here, but credit where credit's due. One of their lines is Google's innovative ad system has leveled the playing field for small businesses and publishers. Small advertisers can reach customers the same way as large ones do, with no minimum ad spend, no upfront commitments. I mean, those are some fair points. They have really innovated ad technology to the point where we look 20 years ago and we look at how marketing happened. It's definitely, they've changed the playing field in a lot of things. I think the big thing about this whole DOJ case is, have they done it fairly, or is it in a position that's now fair for all other businesses and all other parties? So it seems like they're arguing about what they've done to get here, how much they've spent to get here, how helpful it is. And I think, perhaps we're going to see which way the judge sides on that whole kind of deeper level argument.
right. And so if we put on sort of our, imaginative hats here and just imagine what the future might look like. I mean, worst case scenario where these businesses do get broken up and small competitors do get sort of the search algorithm of Google. What does that mean exactly? Even that's a little bit hard to imagine, right? Does that mean that other people are going to start using DuckDuckGo or some other search engine more often? I don't know, but it does potentially open up the playing field to other search
It's
competitors.
it's interesting to think about how much of Google's success is tied to their algorithm, or to the user data they get, or to the fact that they have both of those things locked down. Like, how
Yeah,
much of their algorithm needs all the user data they collect, and how much of the user data they collect feeds because their algorithm has done so well over the years. And so untangling it is interesting to think about, and how much of an advantage that could give to others. It's very hard to kind of computate.
right. And in their statement here, I mean, she really focused on the fact that hey, it's a distribution, it's a search distribution contract issue, right? Meaning, hey, Apple had preference, or Google had preference on Apple devices and some of these other contracts to get the Google search engine, to be the default everywhere. She's saying, hey, just focus on that. But that is a huge deal, right? That Google has become the de facto search engine everywhere, and even just changing that is
Yeah.
big. But Google
That
is
would have a
very
massive
worried.
impact on their ad revenue, right? I mean, immediately right out of the gate,
Yes.
like, even
Yeah.
if that's the only thing that changes from this case, that singular act, we talked about in the podcast how much they spend and then how much they get in their ad budget, in their ad revenue. Like, that would have a massive impact on their ad revenue, which would impact so many other things that they're able to do with that revenue. So, no matter what the case lands on, assuming some punishment is handed out, even what we're considering maybe the lighter punishment still has far-reaching implications for them.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll leave it there for now. We will be revisiting this subject, I'm sure, over the coming months and potentially years as this all plays out. So, uh, as though that weren't enough drama for the day, our next news story is I don't know, even more dramatic,
Yeah,
uh,
for sure.
in a way here because, so this is just a TechCrunch story, but anywhere you get your tech news, you maybe have already read this, and if not, I think you should read up on this. This is just called the WordPress versus WP Engine drama explained. Now, in my own words, I'm going to do my best to kind of explain what is going on here. So, Matt Mullenweg is the founder of WordPress.org, right? He is the creator of WordPress, the open source project that made WordPress free for everyone. And he was recently at a WordCamp, which is a big conference for WordPress users. And on stage, he sort of went on the offensive against WP Engine and called them a cancer of WordPress and told people that they should not be using WP Engine, and specifically, had problems with the fact that they were called WP Engine and felt like that sort of infringed on maybe people understanding that, hey, WP doesn't mean your WordPress engine. Like, it's you are not WordPress, right? Just meaning, hey, people use you because they confuse you for the official foundation, the WP. Um, and he went through a whole list of, ways he's been slighted, or the WP Engine he's felt like has slighted the foundation. They don't contribute a lot of as many free hours as they should. And a big one, it seemed like, and we'll dive into this a little bit, it almost feels a little personal in a
Little.
way, because WP Engine has become a huge business, making $400 million a year. And it feels like, I hate to say it, but it feels like Matt is a little jealous of that business. And what complicates this is that Matt also founded a for-profit
There we
arm,
go.
which is called Automatic. So Automatic is a for-profit business that owns lots of WordPress businesses, including WordPress hosting, which I think is on WordPress.com, is their
Yes.
for-profit WordPress hosting. And I don't know, but maybe WordPress.com isn't making $400 million a year. And Matt just feels a little jealous. The WP Engine is making $400 a year. And he's kind of like, we're WordPress. You're not WordPress. And people should, buy our products. It's very convoluted because we have both the open source
Y-
project of WordPress.org. We've got the for-profit arm of Automatic, and uh, the WordPress license has never required that people contribute free hours to the WordPress.org project. Has never said that you can't be a for-profit business. So it's very convoluted, and boy, it goes way beyond what I've just mentioned. But that's kind of the tip of the iceberg.
Incestuous in a bit is a word I keep coming back to, and it's kind of a scandalous word to use, but it does seem like at first glance, it's like, oh, so you got this free open source software. There's a company that doesn't really contribute much. Okay, they're rubbing a little bit. That's a bummer. But then you get into the complexities of the situations, and you realize that there's so much more kind of under the surface here. And you're right. I mean, that only skims the surface on what's progressed over the last probably 2 weeks. You and
Yep.
I talked off air, like, should we cover this last week? And it was still progressing so rapidly that we actually camped on it. And I'm glad we did because of what's happened in just the last 7 to 8 days that's developed outside of what you already shared.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And so this article walks through some of that, right? Early on, WP Engine was actually banned from any customers that were on WP Engine. No longer were getting automatic updates to the WordPress plugins. Matt went in and said, nope, if you're on WP Engine, you're not getting automatic updates for WordPress.org. So WP Engine had to scramble and come up with a fix for that. Okay. Like, this is unprecedented. Like, never, like, why would any web host be banned, like harming all their customers from getting us
And
updates?
this
It's
is late
crazy.
September. This is happening, I believe. So like
Yeah.
a week and a half ago, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see here. Oh, yes, the trademark issue. There's been lawsuits. WordPress.org filed a lawsuit against WP Engine, say, hey, you're infringing on our trademark. There's been a countersuit, and I don't think that's going to go anywhere because WordPress actually came out and on Twitter at least and said, hey, for all those people that use WP in your name, just rest assured that's not against our trademark. But they still have this lawsuit against WP Engine for trademark infringement. So I don't fully understand it. But here's this one just happened this week. And this is crazy. So a lot of developers that have, imagine, people that have a free WordPress plugin. There's hundreds of thousands of free WordPress plugins that live on WordPress.org. And so a lot of developers go there to update their plugins. They log in and they upload their plugin. Well, if you go to wordpress.org and you try to log in, there is now a checkbox that says, I am not affiliated with WP Engine in any way, financially or otherwise. And there's just a checkbox. And I assume if you don't check the box, you can't log in. It just seems so juvenile,
Yeah.
honestly. Like, how does this help anybody? Um, but this is where we are. There's this drama, this hatred between Matt Mullenweg and WP Engine that they're adding checkboxes you can't even log in. Um, and there's been a lot of people getting banned from the official WordPress Slack group. These are developers that have been contributing to WordPress their own hours for years and years that have sort of said about what I've just said, that, hey, this is kind of juvenile. Like, we're just trying to help out. If you say anything that is like against WordPress or against Matt, you get banned from the Slack group. Like, he's coming out guns a blazing, doing all sorts of things. So kind of
There's
crazy.
also less people working at
Ah,
Automatic
yes.
these days.
Go ahead.
Well, just last week, right around the time last week's podcast came out, obviously this is creating a stir if you work under this person, if he's banning people from, left and right, what's going to happen to your job? So basically, if I have the story correct, Mullenweg offered his Automatic employees a buyout package of $30,000 or 6 months' salary if they disagreed with this direction.
Yep.
It gave him a deadline, and at the deadline, 8.5% of Automatic's workforce, 159 employees, took the offer and left the company. And a lot of them were from the WordPress division of that company. So you could say that's not very many. You could say that's kind of a lot. But like what we don't know is how many of those 159 like were from the specific WordPress part of his division, right?
Right.
But that's a big deal. Like 159 people just left in one day. That's got to have an
Yeah.
impact on your
Yeah.
company and your organization.
Well, that's big, for the, sort of the leader of the company to come out and say, hey, if you don't agree with our direction, like, you can just leave,
I'll
right?
pay you to leave.
I'll pay you to leave. And almost 10% of the organization left. You also have to wonder if there's another 10% of the organization that just sort of kept quiet, is like, well, I'm getting paid really well. I don't want to change a job. I disagree with them anyways, but I'm going to stick around. Uh, so it's a big deal. So there's a lot of drama going on in the WordPress ecosystem. I will just briefly share one other article here that I found just about an hour ago. I was kind of reading up on this. This is shared on hey.com. David Hansen is the creator of 37 Signals and is the creator of Ruby on Rails. And that's relevant because Ruby on Rails is an open source software. And so from his standpoint, he sort of shares, hey, Automatic is doing open source dirty, is the title of his article. Basically just saying he completely disagrees with the way that Matt is doing this. He says, hey, Ruby on Rails is an open source, just like WordPress is open source. I don't come after businesses that are successful because they were built on Ruby on Rails. It's just wrong. When you have an open source, software or platform, that's what it is. You know that for-profit businesses are going to be built on that. And I guess the other thing we didn't specifically mention is that, about a week ago, Automatic is demanding 8% of WP Engine's revenues because they're not giving back enough to the WordPress ecosystem. So it's not just that Matt is sort of, angry about it. He's actually saying, hey, you need to pay me that 8% of $400 million a year. Why exactly? Because they're so successful? I don't know. But from another open source creator, he's chimed in and basically said, "Hey, what Automatic is doing is dirty."
It is. I mean, let your yeses be yes and your nos be nos. If it's open source, then it's open source. If you want to have rules around it, put your rules in place. If you want to adjudicate people and like go around policing the internet because all of the nuance or the unspoken obligations you feel are there, well, then now we're just getting into, that's how relationships work, but that doesn't make it fair or right. And it's difficult for a business to then have a for-profit arm that operates in the same space and then try to play police like this. It really does tangle things up, and it's not doing anyone any good, probably including Automatic, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I would not think so. One final thing that I will just share on this, I've been thinking actually about Syed Balki. He owns a large portfolio of WordPress plugins and WordPress businesses. I'm just thinking, like, what is he thinking? He owns all these businesses that are reliant on WordPress, and he tweeted today, basically saying, "Hey," or yesterday, it looks like, "No, I'm not leaving WordPress." For him to just have to say that, like, it's a big enough drama in sort of this arena that he has to come out and say, "No, I'm not leaving WordPress. I believe in the amazing WordPress community. I believe that open source is one of the most powerful ideas of our generation. We need to stick together, continue building cool things," right? So he's sticking around, he's in this business, and that I would imagine behind the scenes, he's all hopes that this resolves amicably so that we can get back to business as usual. And so hopefully that's the case. Hopefully we don't have to keep covering this story, but my suspicions are that there could be some continued drama in future weeks and months.
Yeah, this probably gets a little worse before it gets better, right?
Mm, yeah,
Got all the
unfortunately.
earmarks.
Yeah, and I don't want to make any predictions, but there could be a few predictions of different things that could happen. We'll just kind of leave it at that and see how it all plays out. So, well, very good. Uh, should we move on to our side hustles? Was that enough drama for one day?
Boy, I'll tell you, I got my fill. I don't. I think that we've had a lot of different dramatic stories we've covered over the last a year and a half now of doing this. I think that one might be perhaps the most petty in the world of drama, but that's the real life happening right now. With I'm guessing almost every listener who has a website probably has a WordPress website somewhere in the closet. I mean, it's just
Yep.
crazy how we're talking about stuff like this, but it has an impact in many ways on all of us in this small ecosystem that we live in. So,
Yeah. Big impact for sure. So,
Hey everyone, Spencer here, founder of Niche Pursuits. Are you adding a new internal link pointing to each article you publish? You should be. Ever find it time consuming and a bit overwhelming? Remembering what content you publish and deciding which anchor text to use can be a real headache. What if there was a better way? Well, that's exactly why I created Link Whisper. Simply click Add Inbound Internal Links, and Link Whisper will scan your site in seconds and suggest the most relevant links with appropriate anchor text for your new article. Now simply check the box next to the internal links you want to add, and Link Whisper will add these links for you. No need to go into each article, edit, and add the link. It's already done. No more manual internal link building or guesswork. Just efficient, accurate linking that saves you time and improves your SEO. Transform your content strategy with Link Whisper. Start linking smarter, not harder. Use the coupon code podcast for $15 off. Head over to linkwhisper.com and use coupon code podcast to get $15 off.
let's move on to something maybe a little bit lighter, a little bit more fun here is I've been working on this side hustle project for almost 2 years now. I need to really look at the start date. But I've had a Facebook page that I've covered a number of times, here on the podcast. But it originally started as sort of a side project with my two oldest children as a summer project. I guess it probably was 2 summers ago, not this summer, but the previous summer. So, anyways, year and a half, whatever it is. Um, to build a Facebook page and a website related to that page, and it could be something they could work on. And well, they worked on it for like 2-3 weeks, and then they abandoned it. And I have picked up the pieces and tried to turn it into something, and it has turned into something. I now have a Facebook page with 81,000 followers, and last month it made its most money ever from the Facebook performance bonus program. It made $3,600 all from the Facebook bonus program. It actually made a couple $100 more with ads as well. but $3,600 from the Facebook bonus program. And I have a screenshot of just some stats I thought I could share so people could kind of see, what I'm doing in terms of engagement, impressions, and that sort of thing. So here is my page overview over the last 28 days. You can see that almost 10 million
Wow.
post reach, 9.9 million post reach, and post engagement 1.1 million.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, new page likes, new page followers, almost 7,000 new page followers. But it's a very interactive page. There are people reacting, over 300,000 people reacting, a like button or a love or whatever, almost 90,000 comments. So it's still moving along. It's still doing well. And it's one of these fun things that I think I've shared also, that I've pretty much outsourced this whole page. It is not me in there creating content for the page. I have somebody that is managing it now at this point. I've just trained her to do it. And so she's in there posting, 10 to 15 times a day, different things. And at this point, we are starting to repost old content that did well, a few months ago. We're reposting it and it's doing well again. So now we have almost like this library of content that we can start reposting time and time again, and hopefully keep generating numbers like this.
I mean, that's a really good amount of money to make from a project. I mean, you've called your kids up, right, and been like, "Hey, look what you're missing out on," right? Like, if
Yeah, this
only
this
you'd
could be
stuck with
paying
it.
your yeah, paying all your bills and then some, but they didn't stick with it.
Is the growth just from, the compounding efforts, or did you guys make any changes from the last time you told us? I feel like it was making like 1,000 or $1,500 a month from the bonus program last time we might have talked about it. But like now we're at
Yeah.
triple that. So like, have you done anything different that's cracked the nut there, or is it just more of the same and it's just kind of compounding?
It's kinda just more of the same. We're constantly testing, like, new types of content, whether it's, images with a caption on it, or it's just straight status posts or other things, but we've kind of hit on a formula that we think is working. And really, it's just that the page fluctuates, the earnings fluctuate. Some months, it's $1,500 a month. My highest month
That's
was
true.
just at, or maybe just under 3,000 previously. It was maybe $2,900 a couple of months ago. And then, like, a month ago, it was like 15, 16, $1,700, and now it's
Yeah.
back at 3,600. This month might be back down at 1,500. I don't know. That's kind of the fickle nature of Facebook, unfortunately, is you do have to post new content every day, and you just don't know which day or week or month that content's going to take off and when it won't. I feel like we're having more wins now consistently because
Yeah.
we're kind of honing in on what the audience likes a little bit better. But this is the biggest month by far, and we're going to just keep trying to publish that content that works. So
Man, well, that's amazing. And I mean, I don't know what niche you're in, but everything seems to do better in Q4. I'm curious to see if this kind of does better in Q4. We just we should pull it up. I'm actually guessing on this, but I'm pretty confident. Like, people spend more time on Facebook during the holidays than they do other times of the year, and so I would imagine that there's at least a lot of reason to believe your earnings could continue to go up in the holiday season.
that would make a lot of sense. And if nothing else, we know that ad rates are higher.
Yep.
So I don't know if that translates to
Right.
Facebook paying out more in their bonus program, but it would make sense
Hmm.
that each visitor is a little bit more valuable on Facebook. So I'll share the numbers over the Q4. So
Very exciting. Well, good. My side hustle is not nearly as exciting. I shared my exciting news last week, which is the recovering of earnings for a niche site that got destroyed in the HCU, destroyed again in the March core update. But now I've got the earnings back to above their previous high through Pinterest traffic. So that site earned just under $2,000 in September. But that was my
that's
fun
awesome.
news.
Yep.
I shared about this in August, coming on the back of the interview we'd had with Thomas Smith on Medium. And I talked about how, hey, I'm going to start making a go of just kind of resharing my weekly newsletter from Weekend Growth on Medium. And I started doing that. Now, keep in mind, I got a backlog of about 75 to 100 emails I've already sent out from Weekend Growth. And then I send a new one out every week. So not only could I just take the one I shared or the email from the week that we have and publish it on Medium, but I could also go back and kind of reshare a lot of these old emails. So what I didn't realize is that there's a real science to Medium. And it's got a little bit more in terms of variables and how you do it than I realized. And to be honest with you, September, I've got some good news, by the way, at the end of all this, but I'm sharing all this with people who maybe also started on the Medium bandwagon after that interview, because I know it was a pretty exciting interview. Here's some things I've had to learn, I'll say the hard way, or had to kind of come into my own knowing throughout the process about Medium. Because there's a lot of different ways to earn money or other facets on Medium. So, long story short, I did not publish a whole lot in September, but I tried a lot of things. And
Hmm.
I feel like I'm getting my feet back underneath me. So here's the variables. And you might not even be aware of this, Spencer. I was actually reading an internal linking article this morning on Medium, so we should talk. You should
Yeah.
maybe we should get you on Medium with some of this link whisper stuff. But so first, you can publish your article, and you can publish it straight to your account, straight to your page, and it goes live. Or you can try to get that in a publication. There's publications that kind of organize people's articles and will publish them under there. So imagine it's kind of like, hey, if you wrote an article, you could publish it on your website, or you could submit it to like the New York Times, right? And maybe they'd feature
Hmm.
it as like an op-ed. Then you can monetize it. In other words, gate it so only Medium members can see it. And thus you'll earn from the partner program like ads. Or you can leave it ungated and hope that it ranks over time and people find it. And then maybe they click on your affiliate link, because we see Medium articles ranking in Google all the time, right? And
Hmm.
then there's a third component where you can try to get your article boosted through the publication. And that's that new program that Thomas talked about that kind of supercharges your earnings and your visibility. And I was like, oh, cool, lots of opportunities. This is great. Well, the reality is, I've gotten very overwhelmed trying to figure out what I'm going to do with each article. I'm like, do I post
Yeah.
this behind the paywall or not behind the paywall? Do I submit this to a publication and do I not? And by the way, I've submitted to publications. They're like, yeah, it's not good enough. We don't want it. You're like, now what do I do? Do I publish it or do I try another publication and stuff? So I did not publish much in the end of September, but I learned a lot.
Hmm.
And the good news is I kind of have my strategy now. So I've kind of come up with like a check and balance, like a question and answer thing. I like if this, then that type of thing for every article I have. So I kind of come out of the gate knowing what to do. And so I've published a couple of articles in October, and I'm happy to report that we're only 9 days into October. And my number of article views are up 3 times over the whole month of September. My
Wow.
earnings are double in the first 9 days of October that they were all of September. And number of people reading my articles has gone up 4 times already since the month of September. So if you're listening and you're doing Medium and you're like, oh, I have been struggling with a lot of that, um, come up with a system. That's what I'd recommend. Because now that I have a system, we're 9 days into October and it's totally working. I'm getting way better now. And I publish not that much content. I just have a better process and approach to it now.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, just as you were explaining all the different options, I was trying to think in my head, yeah, when do you decide to put it behind, the paywall or submit it to a publication or just publish it and hope it does well? So that's a lot to think about and
It
a lot to
it
figure out.
is. It is a lot to think about, and I think there's a lot that has to do with your goals, because you could also
Hmm.
use Thomas talked about other ways to use Medium, like to get backlinks, to get features, to get interviews, to build your brand, to build your email list. I mean, these are all I haven't gotten into
Yep.
all those things yet. So it's this great platform that has a lot of upsides, and there are a lot of ways to win on it. So I love about it. And I'm basically repurposing content I've already written anyway. So it's really a win-win. But as we know, more options creates a lot more decisions that need to be made, which can do what it did to me, create like kind of stop you from progressing.
Hmm. Yeah, but it sounds like you figured that out. You're having a great October compared to September. So yeah, keep us posted. We'll want to hear how October ends up.
I'll keep you posted. I mean, I earned over $100 the first week of Medium. I didn't earn $100 in all of September.
Hmm. Wow.
So September was not good, but October should eclipse what I earned in August. Now that I have a better
Yeah.
system for it,
Okay.
and but I'll definitely report that. But yeah. Other than that, I think I have made some videos for Amazon influencer, Spencer. I don't know if you're gearing up for Q4. If
Whoa.
I know,
Whoa.
right? So
Whoa.
I have not taken my foot off the gas on influencer. I'm not as heavy footed as I was last year, but I'm still making those videos.
All right, you got some new stuff in the house? Or you visiting neighbors?
No, just the new stuff.
All right.
Still getting through all the stuff from back to school and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I really should be getting, anything new we bought from Christmas down. I did get a box down, but I haven't opened it yet. But I am going to continue making some videos about the stuff people are going to buy in Q4. It was interesting to see they just got done with their Prime Deals Day or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and I just popped over to look at it and to see what was on sale. And it's just such a good reminder, like what is all the stuff they have? It's all home stuff and electronics. And if I remember back to my Q4 last year, that's all the stuff that people were buying in Q4. So I really need to do is really make sure I have a video about all the electronics that we have and all the home stuff we have and stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity there for people that wanna hustle. I think it's a great side hustle, maybe one of the best side hustles we've covered, in our year and a half of doing this. I still think there's a lot of opportunity if somebody wants to jump in and is willing to spend an hour a day. Like, you can really get some great traction if you're doing that. So, that's cool. I wish I could say that I was doing the same, but, I'm not. Right now, I
it's
have
okay.
not made any new videos on Amazon Influencer, but
It's okay.
good for you.
I at some point we got to hear how your Q4 goes
Totally.
without publishing a lot of new content throughout the year.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much you have, but I get the sense you haven't published a whole lot of videos this year. It'll be fascinating to
Nope.
see, like, hey, what does Q4 look like with a truly passive account?
Yeah, well, like a year of not publishing anything. So yeah,
Yeah.
we'll do it. We'll do it. We'll share it all. So very good. Well, we've gone through a lot, but I feel like we're about to hit on some really good things here with our weird niche sites. I know we teased early on. Jared's got like essentially like three weird niche sites he's going to share here. He's got kind of a package deal. They go together, and then we got an update on the old one. So I guess that'll be the big bang. We'll share you for the end there. So I'll jump in with mine. And,
Oh
just
my!
be
I just
ready. I'm
opened
about
it.
to okay, yeah, I was just trying to warn you. If you I'm about to share my screen, so put your shades on real quick. Um, so this is, Mike's weather page. The website is spaghettimodels.com, and there's a lot of color. There's, 3 different shades of blue at least on here.
There's
So
four
it's kinda
columns.
like 4 columns. There's kind of a lot going on with the colors. Maybe they match, and then there's like this bright red, and there's all these little ads in the sidebar that look like they could have been ads from the late '90s or something, right? So, um, I the design itself, is maybe a little bit to be desired, but maybe that's on purpose. I don't know. But I guess let me explain what it is first of all, and this is very relevant actually for today. It is a serious subject, right? So spaghetti models, that phrase is used for all the different paths that a hurricane or tornado might take, right? So a model sort of models out all these different spaghetti paths that a hurricane might take, right? So you can kind of see, are you potentially in the path of this hurricane? And so that is the main thing that this spaghettimodels.com covers, is live coverage of hurricanes and tornadoes. And today, it's Hurricane Milton, I think. Is that right?
Yeah.
That
Mhm.
is over Florida right now. And so this is something that people are looking at today to get their updates. But it's crazy how successful this site is. The Facebook page has 2.2 million followers.
Holy
I know I
smokes!
went over to his Twitter account and there was like a couple 100,000 followers there. I went to his YouTube channel. There's like 175,000 subscribers there. And he does a daily, I'll just click this video. He kind of does a daily video of what's happening, the most current news. So today, it's Hurricane Milton is coming over Florida. So he's covering that. He talks about it. And it's like uh, a really long video. 112,000 subscribers is
Wow.
what he has, right? So he covers. Oh, of course, it doesn't show me the time. I got to skip the ad, but it's like an hour long, and he does live
Yeah.
chat like every day. And one other thing that was really interesting, and I don't know how this all fits in, but where did I see this? You can go on a cruise with Mike. Here it is. One of his little ads. Come cruise with the Weather family. Family. I don't Again, I don't know exactly what it is, but let me share this tab. But you can go on this
Well,
and cruise with
yeah.
Mike
There
here.
he
You
is.
can meet and greet, go on a cruise with Mike and his family and the
He's like a cult
Mike's Weather
favorite.
Page team and hang out on the cruise. Like, there you go. It's got a hurricane conference at sea, group photos, swag bags. So this is like he's got a real fan base. I mean, enough that people are going on cruises with the guy because he's like so popular, I guess. And this is all powered by Furman US Power Outage Tracker Map, apparently. So that's the technology he is using. Um, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of other sort of tropical weather updates and satellites and technology pages that he's referencing. It looks like obviously, there's a lot of ads on the website, so that's how he's making money. And I went ahead and I pulled up a couple of things. You won't be shocked to hear as I pull up Ahrefs that it's very seasonal. Hurricane season, tons of people are searching for his page. When it's not hurricane season, not very much
Wow.
traffic,
Look at
right?
that.
So he's getting, depending on the month, right, 500 to maybe up to 1 million searches a month, right? In peak season, if you will. And then other months, like almost nothing. And then if we look at similar web, this gives a rough estimate. I had heard somewhere else on Twitter where I saw this, which my screen isn't working. There we go. That he's getting up to like 3 million visitors a month, uh, during peak season. So actually, that's weekly right there. So
Wow.
actually, he's showing 5.3 million. Similar Web is showing 5.3 million visitors in September, which I totally believe it. And this month maybe even more
Right.
because there's some big hurricanes. Obviously, we had Helene that just hit.
Yeah. Was gonna
Very
say that
unfortunate. And
September
then,
traffic is probably up from Helene, and then 2
yep,
weeks later we have Milton. I mean,
yep,
but to your point, I mean, hurricane season is what, July through October.
yep,
So he's got other stuff on here though. I'm looking at an earthquake map. I live in a heavy earthquake area. He's got an earthquake map. He's got a drought map. He's got a lot of stuff. He's kind of added stuff to be more than just hurricanes.
yep. He has, but it seems like this must be what he's really known for. I think he might live in Florida. I didn't do a ton of research on his background, but from what I gathered, I think that's probably how he started this. Is hey, he lives in Florida, so he's was always tracking this. So I mean, I think he's really a hobbyist weatherman, right? That is just turned his passion into this sort of business, this website, and he's become like this central hub for people to get their daily news about hurricanes or whatever the weather event is.
Well, and I mean, I will admit that the design is incredibly overwhelming if you're not watching on YouTube. And I do it feels so under monetized, mainly because of the design. You feel like he'd be making so much more money with a different design. At the same time, while I was very overwhelmed when I first saw it, I think after 5 minutes with this site, it's really cool. It's a cool site. You
Hmm.
can get lost in this site for 30, 40 minutes easily without realizing it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So it's a cool niche. I mean, he's found a way to sort of monetize his passion. It does show here that it was born in 2004, so he's been doing this for 20 years.
Oh, he got some of the
So
big ones in from um, 2004. So he probably, let's see, that means he missed Katrina. No, did he get Katrina? I think
that was
2005 was Katrina.
2005, I think. Yeah. Hmm.
You start this
So he
site a
did
year
get
in, you
that
get
one.
Katrina, you get one in 100-year storm, and bam, you're off to the races.
That's very possible. It'd be interesting to kind of look at that, and it's
Would be.
very possible that I mean pun intended, that put them on the map, of like, hey, this is
Oh,
this is what we do, and
still got it,
we're off
Spencer.
to the races.
Give
I
you
don't
a
know,
month off. You still got
little
those
rusty.
podcast puns.
Do my best. So maybe that'll inspire somebody. But follow Mike if nothing else. Go over to Spaghetti Models, check them out.
Hey, we
Kind of
still
a
got another
fun.
couple weeks of hurricane season here, so
That's right. So I hope I saved enough time for you, Jared. I know you got a lot to cover, so
you
have at it.
do. I'm gonna hit the clock hard here with my weird niche segment. I'll tell you. Um, okay, let's see. Order of operations. Let's quickly touch on last week and my
Sounds
weird
good.
my weird niche from last week. My weird niche from last week was a website that basically tells you if McDonald's ice cream machines are broken. And so Thomas was hosting last week with me, and it's a hilarious website. It's a pretty well done website. There we go. We got it up on screen right here,
Yep.
mcbroken.com. And we were surmising, like, how's this done? Well, I got an update for you. A lot of people messaged me with a lot of different articles. Apparently, it's widely publicized to some degree how this is done. And it is exactly how Thomas suggested. I don't know if
That's
he looked
so
ahead.
cool.
It doesn't sound like he did. It sounds like Thomas is just brilliant. But basically, when you go to order an ice cream cone, if the machine is not working, then you can't order it. And this is accessible via the API. And so this guy came out in a Reddit post and shared exactly how he built this site. And he walks you through basically, right there it is right there.
Yep.
A lot of techie code. He says it's pretty simple. As a matter of fact, he kind of alludes like the most complicated thing he had to do was basically put in something that looks up your IP address so it can actually localize the map for you.
Hmm. Okay.
But if you go look, I think this is interesting. At the Y Combinator article,
Yeah.
it has a comment here from someone who worked at a McDonald's, and he kind of validates that these things fall apart all the time. Um, he goes into detail about it and how it takes when they go out of service. Machine goes out of service and slowly heats everything up, then cools everything back down to a freezing temperature to serve. This process takes 4 to 5 hours. But if you set the clock wrong, the machine will go into its cycle at some super inconvenient time. There's other triggers. Anyways, he's like they do break a lot, and sometimes it's because of these reasons. It kind of outlines it, and then he goes on to say, I don't know how this guy gets this data. And there's an edit to his comment that says, oh, he's using the public ordering site to scrape it. And he surmises there's actually a connection from the equipment to the McCloud, as he calls it. I don't know if that's an internal term for McDonald's kind of API world. McCloud
Maybe so.
makes sense. The cloud, the McCloud.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, how cool is that? What a cool weird niche. And then now we kind of get to see the underpinnings of it.
Yeah, I thought I was thinking the same thing in last week's segment. I'm like, how in the world do they source all this data? And then Thomas mentions his idea of, hey, when you order and ice cream's not available in the app, that's probably how they're sourcing all the data. And sure enough, that's like he nailed it right out of the gate. But you've got the evidence, the proof from the founder of McBroken.com to verify that's indeed how they do it.
I
So
still think that's a lot of API calls, but
wow, this is cool. I'm gonna use it next time we want to go out to ice cream. Make sure we and then all the Wendy's
or
pop
next
up
time you
that
want
are
to find a
available.
Wendy's, either one.
I could have sworn you were gonna say that this website was actually created by Wendy's. That would be like just the ultimate,
I-
like corporate sort of hack.
yeah.
But it doesn't sound like it. It's just
Going
some
back to
guy that's
pettiness and our topic of pettiness on
right,
today's
right.
conversation. Well,
So
this is not my weird
cool.
niche. This is just I felt like spending a couple minutes checking back. So if you didn't hear last week's episode, it's a good just go back and at least listen to that part if you want to know more about this. But yeah, this is kind of a fun update. My weird niche is a double weird niche. First time I think I've ever done that too. What a weird week. It's a weird week of weird niches and weird updates to weird niches. I've got a double whammy here for you.
Here we
And
go.
so we're going to talk about both of them. There's only so much time I had to dig into each of these, with all the other stuff we have going on. So I'm also going to do a little surmising here. But the websites, the weird niches are bridesmaidforhire.com and take a wild guess, groomsmenforhire.com. And I don't know. Apparently, it's a thing. Apparently, so I stumbled upon these because this week I released a guide to weekend growth audience about 100 and whatever it is, 53 side hustles. I've been jotting down side hustles as I've seen them for the last 2.5 years. A lot of them from seeing stuff on this podcast. Just put them in Evernote doc, and I saw this a while back, and I put it down. And I think it's hilarious because I was a wedding photographer for a decade, so I think this is hilarious. We've talked about other weird for hire things. I think we've done paparazzi for hire as one of our weird niches.
Ah,
But
yep.
it would seem that you can hire a groomsman or a bridesmaid for your wedding. Now, the bridesmaid, we'll start there. The bridesmaid website, they're both weird in their own ways. The bridesmaid website looks far more legit when you get to it. You have it up on the screen. It
Yep.
looks like a website. It says established in 2014. It's got featured on Fox and all these different places. Here's the funny thing about it. Spencer, try to hire someone. So try to
Uh,
hire packages, maybe if you want to get a package there, right? That would be where the pricing is,
yeah.
right? I could never get to a point where I could actually hire a bridesmaid, where I could actually see how much it cost, where I could actually book it. I don't know if this is the greatest ruse, but I could never, or maybe I missed it, but I could never actually figure out how much it costs or how to figure out how to actually book someone to come to my wedding.
Give it a try. Oh, wait, that's a vow
That's the
generator.
vow generator. That's really cool, by the way. This is cool. They have all these other cool little prompts and things here. You can write your speech, your best man speech, your bridesmaid speech. You can have a vow generator. But yeah, they I don't really. There you go. Hire a bridesmaid or hire us. How do you hire them? I couldn't figure out how to hire someone. Here you are back in that loop again.
Hire us. Apply for
Now
a
you have to.
job. I guess you have to just contact him
I
and
guess
chat
you have to
about
just
your
contact them. Yeah, even though there's a big button that says packages, and that's all I wanted to see. So, um, yeah,
interesting.
hard to
You
say.
can sign up for their email list, and
You can sign up for
that's
the emails. But if you go down to the footer, Spencer, this is interesting. If you go to the footer, they have a very active, like, there you go, instant adventures. You can go, they're like, they were posted on Instagram today. And so people like send in their kind of wedding questions and they'll kind of crowdsource answers for you. So, anyways, I see you clicked on it. It's not on the screen right there, but if you click and go
oh,
look on the Instagram side
there
of
we
things,
go.
you can kind of see like, oh, there you go. Yeah. Dear 1-800 bridesmaid.
I need
I don't want to
advice.
go there. So, anyways, I don't know. What do you
Huh.
think about this site? Then we'll get on the groomsman one.
I mean, it seems interesting. It seems like they have a whole range of services that they potentially offer, but like you said, I don't know how to actually do that. Are you actually ordering bridesmaids, or do they just write speeches for you? Like, it's maybe a little confusing because I don't, like you, I don't see a way to actually buy something.
I was just curious how much it would be, and how much
Yeah,
like if you're I don't know single and kind of just moved to a city, great way to meet people, great way to make money, have a fun night out. I don't know. It
yeah,
seemed
that's
interesting.
true. Be a cool side
Um,
hustle, I guess. You're right.
right? Like you could just be, well, yeah, during the week I'm a programmer, and then on Saturdays I'm a bridesmaid for hire.
Yeah,
Make a cool $300.
why not?
I forgot to mention, if you could pull up the Hrefs graph for this, I thought this was interesting. This site has experienced explosive growth in the last 6 months.
Is that right?
Look at
Whoa,
that.
look at that.
Yeah.
You're right.
I don't know what they're doing, but I mean, what is it? 5x in the last couple months?
Yeah, since looks like probably right around the August core update is when it really started to see a big uptick.
I mean, like a tremendous uptick if you're looking like
Yeah,
Reddit-esque, if you
from
will.
10-ish 1,000 organics a month to now as much as 40 to 50,000, right?
Unbelievable.
Organics
Yeah.
a month.
Yeah.
So yeah, 4 to 5x just like that.
That's
Wow.
phenomenal. So now I'll take you to groomsmenforhire.com. Now, at first I thought, oh, same URLs type of string, like probably owned by the same person. I don't think so. Totally different design, totally different approach, totally different everything.
Yeah, looks
Groomsmen for
different.
hire, right? Like you got up on the screen now, and it's a very poorly done homepage. It looks like a stock photo that got cut off on the right hand side, like it got stuck in the developer, like it was a piece of film. It's got like a very 1940s feel to it, not in a good way either. There's a picture down at the bottom that's our groomsman pro, and it's this awkward,
Like
picture of
really
Matt.
skinny
Yeah,
picture
really
of Matt.
skinny. So head over to the About page. You're like, cool, at least I'll learn about them. So meet the team.
Yeah,
Well, there isn't much of a team. It's just Matt.
just
And
this guy.
yeah, and it goes on to talk about Matt co-founded Caroline Moves to help bring the market a hassle-free approach to property management. Not really sure if what's going on with the groomsmen for hire world, but he's a property manager. Didn't learn anything about groomsmen though. Um, so again, they have the illustrious packages up there for you to click. And Spencer, if you want to in
Okay.
the menu, just go click packages and we can go learn how much it costs.
Uh, I don't think I can click it unless there's
It's
something
not
wrong with.
clickable.
Are you serious? What's wrong with these people?
How odd is
Don't
it
they
that
want
both
to take my money?
bridesmaid for hire and groomsmen for hire, you cannot actually figure out the packages, but for very different reasons. One sends you on an endless loop throughout their website. The other doesn't even make the link clickable.
What? He's like, why is my business not working?
I know, seriously.
Broken
You,
link.
you say that jokingly. I have had clients come and they're like, I don't know why I don't get any contacts. I'm like, well, when you click on your contact page, it says 404. What?
Yeah, it's like they never tried it out. So I can contact him. Oh, actually, shoot him an email. It looks
It
like
looks like,
not even a
yeah, boots up
contact
an email there,
form,
right?
but no packages that I'm aware of. What a website. And
Pop.
the home link doesn't work. Like I can't get back to the home page.
If you go to the
Um,
Ahrefs graph, this one is not doing quite as well as
Not doing quite
bridesmaids
as well.
for hire.
You're right.
Thanks for a total of
120
59
organics.
keywords. I guess the good thing they have going for them is the last couple of years they have been relatively flat in terms of traffic. They haven't lost much traffic.
It's pretty much groomsmen for hire is like the only keyword and variations thereof that
Which that
it
does get
ranks
search
for.
traffic. It does. I
I
mean,
think they got an
if you
exact match domain, and that's about it. It looks
that's
like.
why. Uh,
Wow.
anyways, so I mean,
So is there
I
a
was
business model even there? Like, do
yes,
people do this?
right. So first off, go get groomsmenforhire.com. Didn't check if it was available. This is groomsman
Yeah.
singular. You could get groomsmenforhire.com. And if you put up a little bit better of an effort than this, which would not be hard, within an hour, you could probably have a website that's better than this. And you
Hmm.
could probably use that EMD to get pretty close to these rankings. And now you just got to figure out how to fulfill groomsmen across the country, which sounds like a huge
Right.
challenge.
Right. Huge challenge. And how often are people looking for that sort of service? That I guess they're searching for it on Google.
I,
So there's some sort of demand there.
I mean, I'm trying to think like if you're searching for groomsmen for hire, maybe you could just like build location pages and then like sell lead gen to brides.com or I don't know. I
Yeah.
doesn't seem like a
I
great
don't
idea,
know.
but it's an
Maybe
idea.
there it is an idea, and that's the thing is we're just here to give you guys, the listeners, a nugget of an idea. Hopefully something we said along here in our ramblings talking about groomsmen or bridesmaid for hire maybe triggered an idea. And if it did, then we did our job. So just let us know if we did that.
I don't think it'd be hard to rank for these terms though, especially not the groomsmen for hire. Like I think we got a nailed on case here for how to get that in a website ranking pretty quickly for that. The problem is how to monetize.
Yeah, exactly. What's the business model? So if you figure that out, there you go. Go ahead and pursue that. So, Jared, wow. Good finds on those. Not one, but two weird niche sites. And I like the update on last week's weird niche site. So nice job.
It's good to have you back. We missed you, but apparently the world continues, especially the Google world, continues to operate in your stead. So we've got plenty of news to talk about. But what a week! A lot of stories to follow.
Yep. A lot of good stuff. It's good to be back. And yeah, we'll be back next week. It may or may not be me, but Jared, I'm sure you'll be here. The Niche Pursuits podcast will continue rolling on. So appreciate everybody listening in, and thank you very much.
Have a great weekend.
Hey there, thanks so much for listening to the Niche Pursuits podcast. Did you know that Jared and I are members of a private group called the Niche Pursuits Community? And today I want to share with you how you can join for just $1. The Niche Pursuits Community is a private members area for niche online publishers to mastermind and grow their businesses together. We hold weekly calls live with experts where you can ask questions. These experts share tips on Amazon Influencer, Google Discover, building email newsletters, getting traffic from Facebook, and other strategies to grow your online business. You'll also be assigned a mastermind group of 4 or 5 other people in a similar stage in business as you. Dive deep into your business issues and get your problems solved. If you use coupon code PODCAST at checkout, you'll get your first month for just $1. Go ahead and give it a try. Come join me, Jared, and lots of other digital entrepreneurs inside my private group at community.nichepursuits.com. And be sure to use coupon code PODCAST. I'll see you on the inside.